And this is the global forecast for 2023. It's been a pretty damn weird last 2 or 3 years. The Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, which was the astrological foreseer of COVID, followed by the Saturn Uranus square of the last couple of years, which has really tanked the global economy. The world's in a very different place now to where it was 3 years ago. And for many of us, 2023 is going to be an easier year. Now, I say this with a cautionary note because it is going to be an easier year for a lot of us. But don't make the mistake of thinking that we're all on the big road to recovery, because we're not. This is just an easier year than the last 2 or 3. 2024, 25, 26 are going to have their own unique set of challenges, the like of which we have never witnessed before in history. Massive changes are coming, and I will address this over the course of the next year. But 2023 is looking a bit easier. Now, there's lots of big things happening. As always, we've got the full moons and new moons in every sign. We've got the solstices and the equinoxes. We've got Mercury and Venus both doing their retrograde thing. The Mars retrograde is coming to an end in January. And Mars is only going to be in 7 signs this year. It's not going to touch Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus. Jupiter is going to rocket through Aries in the first 18 weeks of the year. Then it's going to move into Taurus, where it's then going to stay for quite a long time, about a year. Uranus continues to do what it does in Taurus. Neptune continues to do what it does in Pisces. Saturn is changing sign. First week of March. Saturn's going to move out of Aquarius and into Pisces. This is the start of a 2.5 year process, which will culminate at the end of 2025 with Saturn and Neptune together in the final degree of Pisces, and then again in early 26 coming together at the very first degree of Aries, the start of the horoscope. And this is at the same time as Pluto is at the start of Aquarius, as Uranus is moving into Gemini. Massive changes happening. In many ways, it's the end of the world as we've known it. It's certainly the end of the old corporate system based on the insane greed and profit of recent times. Not averse to people making profit, but not when it's such an elitist thing and the majority is suffering. It's also going to be the end of the big corporate systems and the big multinational groups and the big nations. Borders are going to become a lot more of a tenuous thing, determined by geography rather than barbed wire fences and political ideologies. Pluto is changing sign. Pluto is going to nip into Aquarius. Pluto first moves into Aquarius in March 2023. It concludes its journey in Capricorn in something like November 24. This is the start. And it's going to get a bit messy in certain ways, particularly in terms of the war in Ukraine, although I suspect there are going to be some very surprising changes in that particular conflict in a way it's going to catch a lot of people on unprepared. I am surprised that at the time of speaking that Vladimir Putin is still in power. I'd be astonished to see him remain in power much longer, because Russia's economy has stepped back 30 years in the last year. And there will be changes there. There are certain dates over this coming year, certain significators. For a start off, the start of the year is relatively quiet, you know. Jupiter's in Aries, Saturn's trucking through the end of Aquarius. No big patterns going on. Yes, there'll be a new moon on the 6th of January, which will be conjunct Mercury retrograde, all trining Uranus. So it seems like the start of the year is actually going to work quite well. There's a lot of positive growth and a lot of positive energy beginning to develop at this time. February is quiet. But then we get into March. Now, March isn't that significant. In fact, if anything, March is quite a positive month. Particularly, I note that on the 2nd of March, Venus and Jupiter come together in the sky. That should be rather nice. And the same day as Mercury and Saturn come together in the sky. So I'm kind of hoping that around the first couple of days of March, there's going to be some type of breakthrough, announcement, agreement, signatures, which is going to speak well for most of, if not all of us. On the 21st of March, equinox, the sun has just moved into Aries. The moon will just move into Aries. The new moon at 0 degrees of Aries will be conjunct Jupiter on the 21st of March. This is lovely. This is an amazing time for starting something new, for a fresh start and a new beginning. April is quiet. So far, you're all scratching your heads and going, this is far too nice. What's up? Who's he and what's he done with Steve Judd? It's coming, don't worry. April is quiet. May. In 2023, there are 2, maybe 3 really big trigger points. 4, actually. 3 of them are within a few weeks of each other. One is standalone. And the standalone one is the period of the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th and 21st of May. At that time, Mars will journey from Cancer into Leo. Pluto will have moved from Capricorn into Aquarius. Jupiter will move at that time from Aries into Taurus. So, on that time, over that 5-day period, we're going to have an exact opposition of Mars opposite Pluto, both of them really strongly square to Jupiter, all at the start of 0 degrees, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo. This is a flashpoint. It's given to stubborn, resilient energy. And because Mars is opposite Pluto, there's going to be a lot of underground, subversive stuff going on. And it's going to be big. It's going to be explosive. Now, I don't necessarily look at this in terms of warfare or banks collapsing. Because Jupiter's involved and because it's at the start of the fixed signs, I'm seeing this as being as much environmental and geophysical as anything human. So I do expect there to be significant geophysical activity around these dates, 17th to the 21st of May, volcanoes, earthquakes, stuff like this, and not small ones. June, quiet, and the start of July. June's quiet, but on the 5th of June, Mercury will be conjunct Uranus the same day as Venus is opposite Pluto. That might be a little bit provocative and messy around the start of June. As we get into the middle of June, Jupiter and Saturn are sextiling each other. And this is the good bit of 2023. By the end of May, Jupiter's really getting stuck into Taurus. Saturn's getting stuck into Pisces. And over the period of late May through to early July, there's a 6 to 7 week period where Jupiter and Saturn are sextiling each other. This is an excellent time globally for economic restructuring, for growth at a community level, for financial and economic stability. Looking good. Also, at the very start of July, in the first week of July, we have Mars speeding up through Leo, Venus slowing down as it gets into late Leo. So, although they won't conjunct each other, there'll be a week in the first week of July where Venus and Mars will be very close to each other. If we can see them in the sky, which we should be able to in the early morning sun, it'll be a nice light show. And Venus-Mars together in early July, nice for romance and relationships. As we get into the second half of July, Mars will oppose Saturn. That's going to be a bit of a short, sharp shock. Bit incisive. That's going to be around the 20th, 21st of July. And then as we get into late August, Mars will also oppose Neptune. Mars in both cases operating from Virgo, opposite Saturn in early Pisces and then Neptune in late Pisces. September is quiet. Then we get to the crunch points. As we get into October and November, there are 3 critical formations happening in the sky within 4 weeks of each other. 28, 29, 30 October. Mercury and Mars will conjunct each other in Scorpio, and they'll be opposite the conjunction of the Moon with Jupiter on the 29th of November. This is going 29th of October. This is a crunch point. 29th of October, I expect a lot of angry words, a lot of situations to suddenly expand, and it's going to be incisive and sharp and possibly quite negative as well. It's a brief one-time occurrence. It's a storm in a teacup, but there will be a lot of hype and spin. 29th of October. Don't drive fast on the motorways. Don't take chances on that day. Followed by the Scorpio new moon on the 13th of November. Sun conjunct Moon conjunct Mars. Sun, Moon and Mars all together, opposite Uranus in Taurus, unpredictable, volatile, explosive, crazy. Followed by the full moon on the 27th of November, full moon in Gemini, Sun conjunct Mars in Sagittarius, opposite the moon in Gemini. So 29th October, 13th November, 27th of November. This is volatile, potentially warlike, potentially explosive, incisive, precise. It's the time of year where I'm kind of crapping myself most of all. But it sure holds in it incredible opportunities to... It's like a homeopathic laser or scalpel going in and exorcising cancer that's been there forever. We can get to the core, to the root of things and bring it out, especially in those November, the new moons and full moons. That's do or die, that one. And then we end the year on the 27th of December with Mercury retrograde conjunct Mars in late Sagittarius, but that'll be that's a bit of a joker, that one. To me, the difficult times are very much the Jupiter, Mars, Pluto T-square around the 17th to the 21st of May, and then those big oppositions from Scorpio to Taurus, followed by the opposition from Gemini to Sag on the 29th of October through to the 27th of November. I will obviously be commenting on these much nearer the time, and these are to be observed and watched out for. But these are moments. This is not Saturn square Uranus over a 2-year period. This is not Jupiter Saturn conjunct Pluto over a year. This is not drawn out, long-winded, oppressive. This is short and sharp. So for much of this coming year, there should be a degree less intensity, less pressure, more lightness, except when there's not, when it will be extreme. But that's late October, November time, and probably mid-May as well. Apart from that, this next year is looking pretty good for most of us. Hope so. Catch you later. Bye.